Great. I'm going to share my screen. Let's see.
It's not yet recording or sharing the screen.
All right. So you should see the agenda.
Yes.
Okay. And I can't see what I'm sharing, of course, but
It's
that's
totally
fine.
perfect. Scott, it's not recording yet.
It's not? Okay, let me
No, not yet. Oh, it should be recording. Yes, let's start. I
uh,
think it is recording. I just didn't see it. Yeah, yeah.
okay.
It is.
Awesome. All right, let's see. So before I started recording, I was just saying it's been crazy. I haven't had time to organize anything specific for the agenda. So let me just, I'll just throw on EE10 TCKs, which is always a good, a good subject, and open up the floor for whoever wants to talk about anything specific about EE10 TCKs.
Yeah, so Scott, I wanted to follow up on, and it's kind of a side issue for the 10 TCK, but one that we have been working on, the what to do about Java 18 and beyond, the security manager stuff. So obviously you accepted my change to disable that for higher levels of Java, but is there more we need to do, or who do we need to talk to like define the process for how an implementation would go about claiming support on a higher level of Java? Like, it seems like we've identified the tests that don't work pretty well. So then is the solution to just ignore those failures, to exclude those tests in the results, or what do we see down the road as what people need to submit, if that makes sense?
Let's see, 18 plus. Yeah, so it's not just Java SE 18. Yeah, the road to oops, got caps lock on. So say, oops, the road to I'll just say, Java SC 20, 21 is not far away, and that's the next LTS.
Right. Yeah.
So and let's see, LTS. Um, so a related issue is what will be removed um, um, in SC21 with security manager. Exactly. Is and I think from the platform call, I heard interest um, i- um, in working with the JDK team that's designing 21, what will be in 21, but I don't think we have clarity yet this on what will be in 21. Um, so other than the current thinking is that the security manager it will be removed, which breaks compatibility with EE10. So um, um, I think yeah. So compatibility, yeah. I'll say, EE10 compatibility is probably impacted by removing security manager. Um, but yeah, I think, at this point, the only thing we can really say is, in the future, we will need to determine what um, EE compatibility on um, Java SC21 means. And I don't think we can answer that today, but I don't know if that's EE11. I don't know if that's EE10 or 10 dot something, but um, like, do we really? I'm going to stop talking on this, but do we really? Do we really know enough now, as compared, or is it better to wait until we do know, to make a decision on that? And not that we would decide in this call, but I mean, as a community um, um, that's driving, EE10, when do we decide what happens with EE10? And I propose that it would probably be when we actually know what's going to be in 21, for compatibility with EE10, whether that's nothing or a way of dealing with EE10 applications that do use the security manager. And what happens to those applications? Are they just not secure? Are these applications that are, that were using the security manager, and now the security manager calls are stubbed out, and whatever they were doing, they don't do? Or is it mapped to something, or is it handled differently? Yeah, so I don't think we can just figure that out. That's my viewpoint on it. So again, I'll stop talking now. So yeah, what do others think about that?
Should we be calling names if no one wants to speak?
Does it mean that for certification of application servers like Glassfish, we need not target Java SE 18, or Java SE 18, which is already in uh, release mode? Should we limit to Java SE 17? The current EE10 release for certification of, say, Glassfish. We need not work on uh, Java 18, even if Glassfish supports Java 18. We need not certify Glassfish with TCKs. Is
Um,
that uh, 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 what we are thinking? Since security manager is uh, removed in Java SE 18, and we might be able to run TCKs, or might not be able to, or what's the mandate by uh, platform team on certifying the app servers with Java 18, which claim to support Java 18?
so um, yeah, so there's multiple implementations, and we have EE10. EE10 only defines, JDK 11 and 17, but um, um, the idea of running on 18, I think you would have to enable the security manager, and for implementations that don't enable the security manager support on 18, I think that would mean that they would see, they would certainly, they're gonna see a small number of TCK failures, and they could try to challenge those tests. I guess would be one path. Like let's say if it's Glassfish, let's say um, the Glassfish scripts for running the TCK don't don't run with the SC18 flags that allow the security manager to be used. So Glassfish would probably see that, the small number of failures when they run without the security manager on 18. And because let's say, hypothetically, that's how Glassfish team decided that's how they're going to run the TCK. They could challenge those tests and see what the um, what the finding is on those challenges. That would be one path. But um, um, for as someone who works on running TCKs, also in my case for Wildfly, um, um, I would you know I would expect Wildfly to enable the security manager on 18s, because it's still in the JDK and it's still allowed. You just have to change the flags to allow it. um, and um, so that's what I would do. So if Glassfish or others wanted to do that, they could. Um, the real problem though is no one really knows what's going to be in 21. And you could say 18 is kind of like getting ready for what might be in 21, but what will be in 21, and how do we deal with this? It's above my, it's not my call. Um, but um, but I mean, those are some ideas of what you could do. So does it help, Guru?
Yeah, so long term, we are looking for SC21, and roadmap in SC21 is not yet defined. So we will have to wait for SC29 roadmap, how the security manager, is it completely removed. Based on that, we will take a call on TCK test with security manager for JDK 18 onwards. Is that what we are thinking for long term?
Yeah, I think that's a good summary. And um, going back to what Brian had said, I think um, um, for SC18, if you wanted to run without the security manager, then you'd have to challenge those TCK tests that do fail because of the security manager not being enabled in the configuration that you run in, and see what happens with that. I can't predict what would come out of that.
Yeah, and
Really.
I guess that's the center of my question, right? Is like, would that necessarily rise to a challenge? Like we have
It
a well understood set of failures, right? So I suppose one could try to submit a certification with those failures showing and just be like, we determined in our pre-release exploration that these are the things that would fail. And then you guys decide whether to approve this or not, kind of
I
thing.
think that's definitely worth trying, and just, I wouldn't make it a huge challenge. I wouldn't like go to huge effort to like, or you could, if you, it's up to you. It's your challenge.
Well,
Um,
I mean,
but
especially because it,
it,
it wouldn't be a single challenge, right? Because the tests are in like 4 different areas.
then just start with one, just start with one of the areas, and challenge, it's a few different areas, like, but start somewhere and challenge that, and then maybe you can mention you're going to challenge the other areas, but you're looking to start somewhere.
Right.
And I don't really know if it's, is it going to be in that, like, let's say you do it for the security API tests. Will the guidance come only from the security team, or does it come from the security team and the platform team, or in other? I don't know. It'll be interesting though. It'll be an interesting process, and it may be marked invalid. It may be accepted. I have no idea. But I think you're best off just try it for one area, and then if it succeeds, then do it. Then it's then do it for the others as well, or do it for the others too. It's up to you. Whether you just do them all.
Right.
And I'm more concerned about like what does it mean that an EE implementation runs that way. What's that mean to applications that do depend on the security manager? That the fact that you're not, that you're not enabling or allowing those applications to use the security manager. What does that mean to those applications? And um, 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 I don't like the idea of giving the impression that yes, you can run still, but there's less security. It's just like it's like a general dig against EE that I don't like to see happen. That's all. That's my concern about that. That I don't want to see EE10 have the reputation that there's less security.
Yeah, and Brian, you nailed it there. You said the implementations will be using, I don't know if you said this, but you mentioned that when the implementations that choose to be compatible with Jakarta EE10, is it, are they going to, is the system or the process want to allow them to have optional security or not? This is something actually beyond the scope, and it's really, really good question. I think Jared brought it in, and it should become a thread in the TCK forum, because the specification committee is not the only one that needs to decide on this, but the entire community. Testing in security, we talk about CVEs, who is going to make the patches? Not only that, as this is linked with our users, and in 10 is the first release with features. If we fail now on this release, the current users might migrate or choose to migrate from EE7, that is like way back Java EE, to finally Jakarta EE10, might completely dropped the technology, because security is a major concern and it has been for a while. We are open source, and we are fully responsible for all the code, the maintenance, the deprecation. So I highly recommend that. I think it was Brian or Jared who asked the question about security and how to deal with it in 10, because there are a few. I recommend the one of you that asked the questions, follow up in the forum and says, hey, we were on this call and I asked this question, and I think this needs a major it cannot be overlooked. Let's start the discussion.
Well, and we had the discussion on the platform call, and I think they came to a decent conclusion.
Yeah, Jared, that call is too small in the sense that if it doesn't make it to the forum, it actually didn't happen. If we talk about open source, let's use the Apache way, right? The call has like 15, maximum 20 people. Do you believe that that represents the entire Jakarta EE technology on those call attendance? No decision should be made on calls, especially when we are talking about security. It should be in writing, so that 100 or 900, I would be as serious as sending a message to the community forum that has close to 900 Jakartis. Because if we fail Jakarta EE10, that is the first release, we are going to lose most of the users that have been waiting for any features. There has been no reason to move to Jakarta EE's previous releases because there are no new features. So either the user is awaiting and using the past technology of Java EE or migrating to another technology, right? So we can't be complacent with just the platform or the community.
Yeah, so what the platform was the leading of the groups that were at the meeting, looking back at the minutes, um, we do not support 18 plus with EE10 because there is no 21 at the release of EE10. And they are saying that we will look at 21 when we get to 11. I.e. next year, because that's when it's more appropriate to have a discussion. If a 10.1 becomes necessary, then we'll consider a 10.1, similar to what we did with 9, with a 9.1.
Yeah.
But it's kind of, we're putting the cart in front of the horse here a little bit, as Scott continually points out, because we don't know what 21 is going to for sure look like at this point.
Totally agree with you on the wait and see for the technology.
But if they make significant changes in 21 that EE10 can't support because they're breaking changes, it's a moot point anyway. Because none of EE10 will work on it, because none of the APIs have been updated to handle that. If they remove certain things and we need to update to say, hey, yeah, they deprecated this back in 9 or something like that. Now they're removing it in 21. We should have moved over to the new API within the EE API, so the Java SE API in the EE. That's a possibility. That's happened, obviously, in the past, and if we had to accommodate for that. So it's going to be a wait and see at this point, and I think we're going to have to continue that, and that was the opinion of the people on the platform call.
And I was on the call too, and I completely agree with everything that Jared just said.
So then that means we don't need the email then? This has been tacked out and we are moving forward to keep EE 10 away from 18 then, correct?
Correct. We actually have I'm gonna get the link. We have a track and issue, which is, I know for some can be better because GitHub issues can be updated and by anyone, whereas email, not everyone wants to join the platform TCK mailing list, which I disagree with, but um, I know I've gotten feedback from from some people that refuse to join yet another mailing list, but they're happy to update an issue. But let me get oh, um, the issue. Oh, here it is. Okay, I'm just gonna add the link to the agenda. Let's see. Let's see. Tracking. Oops. Tracking. Oops. Tracking issue is. That. All right. Yep. There it is. So 743, and it's already has gotten a lot of discussion, and Brian added results from running with Open Liberty, and Brian helped me see that my results I had attached initially were wrong, and then I had added more results that pretty much matched what Brian had found. So Wildfly and Open Liberty had found, pretty much the same results. So, yeah. Um, see. So, um, um, yeah, congratulations, Brian. I don't remember now, Brian, when Brian Decker became a committer on the platform TCK. Um, it's been a while, but
Yeah, it's been a while, but you see, I'm bringing it up because I think not only do we need to talk about code or like deprecation and new tests and things like this in this code, but actually acknowledge the growing community of the committers. Not to change this, but every single month, if we have new committers or new contributors, we should highlight them here, even if they don't attend, right?
yep,
Um,
definitely. Yep,
yeah,
great idea. I love it.
so I just added a tweet of, Brian, who was here. I chose him to be the first one. And I was like, oh yeah, he's a committer here. And just to make a point.
No, it's great. Um, I'm going to nominate a few people. Um, um, I haven't done it yet, but um, I think yeah, we have like I think we have like I don't know, like 15 or 16 committers on the platform TCK.
Mhm.
I want
Yeah.
I want to see yeah, increased number of people um, um, to help with switch to Archillian, and Maven. Um, um, just it 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 it, it didn't seem like we had enough hands, and that was one idea I had. Let there are people who have been helping create the new Archillian TCKs and Archillian based TCKs, and anyone that isn't a committer that's interested in helping out with that. You don't have, no one has to be a committer on any project to help out, but anything I can do to get more hands on the effort, I think would be welcome to, so that, wanted to mention that if, in case there are, if you know of people or if anyone here on the call that isn't a committer that wants to, work on Killian and Maven, switching over to those. Um, I, I, I think roughly if we were to complete the refactoring of the platform TCK over to Maven and Archillian in the EE11 timeframe, I think that we would probably need like roughly one person per test area. And I don't think that we have that now. So I'm kind of concerned that we might run out of time again if we don't have enough time during the EE11. Not that we know what the time frame is for 11 yet, but so it's kind of why I'm pushed to get more people, um, um, you know, um, involved. So, yep. Any feedback on that?
100% agree with you and the concerns.
Yep. Great. All right. Any other topics? We're about half.
Oh,
Yep.
I do have a topic. I know that you started the conversation about moving the TCK repo after EE10. And I just wanted to make sure that that is still the plan. So that immediately after the TCK, after the release of 10, that we don't continue to postpone it, right?
Let's see. I'm just gonna add the. Let's see. Let's add. So discussion about moving the platform TCK repo to there. I think
Mhm.
I think that I think that there's some follow up on that on the spec mailing list too.
Yes, and there are,
A
I
couple
think there are
days,
like
yeah.
different threads on it, so it got lost. But what I
Yeah.
want to make sure is that it continues to be a priority for the TCK project to move immediately after EE10 is completed. It seems to me that that was approved over 2 years ago by the specification committee, and Scott, you were part of it, and we continue to postpone it, and we have no excuse. It's just that we have to do the work. And this will continue to be postponed if we are not serious on prioritizing it. I have no idea why it continues to be a problem. Hey, Cesar.
Hello. Yeah, I just pasted here. I think this is a pending conversation that Ivar needs to open in the spec calls, or that is related to how to reorganize a bit the repos. I see in the link I sent you here over the chat. I see the TCK repo moving from Eclipse EE4J into the Jakarta EE. So I left that as a reference when that conversation goes into the mailing list coming from these slides, because the slides still doesn't have the context. It's just have the before and after, but there is no context about the why. And that is one of the things that I think Ibar was going to add in the slide and open an email thread.
I don't know if I shared my entire browser, or can others see my?
We are seeing the Google slides. Yes.
Okay, so you can see the Jakarta EE repositories.
Yes.
Okay, good. I just didn't know if I had all of my tab sheets open or just one of them. Okay, so yeah, I just switched to to that. But okay. Yeah, I was kind of like, when I first got asked to move the platform TCK repository, my response was, are we organizing, or are we all moving? Are we doing it all together? But I also said, can we wait until the EE10 release is complete? Because I don't want to, to disrupt, anyone's work. And I know it's, it's all, supposed to be safe, and the old link is, the old repo link is supposed to work still and everything, but I just don't want to cause problems in the middle of the release. But I think it's a great idea if we all move together at the same time. But I'm not against moving the repo. It sounds like it's gonna, it should happen, but I'd like to do it with, with everyone, together.
And Scott, I agree with you, but we, every project is independent, right?
Yeah.
Some create features for releases that are included and they're in a major release, and other specifications want. So we have to be careful with expectations, because we cannot force the migration. Cesar, do you know what is the ETA with Ivar on doing this kind of work, or starting this work? Is he going to do this before 10 or after? Like, I mean, the preparation should happen before 10 is completed, and then we can start the work on 11. Do you know?
I don't know the estimated time. This is an item on the agenda for today's spec committee call. So I think a follow up on this will be mentioned, because the last time, the last call that I was in, that was the next step, right? To add more context into the slides and open an email thread. But I will ask today to Ivar.
Mm-hmm. And Cesar, can you make sure that the information doesn't stay in a vacuum of that call and it goes into the platform? I think it was over a month ago when this was discussed, or 2 months ago, and we still haven't seen the email to the platform forum, right? So we need to, make sure that email lands, even if no one speaks at all. We should be much more transparent because the migration will happen and it needs to happen this year. Even if some will not want to do the work, we need to do it. It is just good business. So if anyone disagrees, so be it, but this is important. And it was voted in 2 years plus ago. So
Yeah,
thanks, Cesar, for speaking up and bringing this to, I don't think you have to send the email to the public forum, but I think it should be Ivar since he chose to do the work, right? To at least initiate the work.
I would bring up another repository level backlog item. We still need to rename the master branch to something else. Would we be looking at like doing those two pieces of work at the same time, more or less?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. No reason not to.
Oh, Brian, you brought up, this is something a forgotten topic. Can you bring the link to that? Because it has been so long. Holy cow.
I'm not sure where. I just, it was
Mhm.
something in my mind. I don't know where the
It's-
item or email thread is.
It's on the platform. It's on the TCK mailing list, but it didn't get a lot of responses. But
Mhm.
I'll just say we're moving the repo, moving TCK repo, and one of the things is it well, I've heard before that it's like a US thing also, but it doesn't mean that we can't do it. That was just some of the feedback I got from some people. Moving
Well,
TCK repo.
yeah, but Scott, did it happen in the mailing list? Because Brian brought something and I think maybe only one person commented. It was so long ago.
Yep.
I will do my best to find that thread, but it's just maybe Brian can find it faster.
It-
I mean, I'm
it-
not throwing you as a volunteer to find it, but
I'm just saying it's so old and it
yes.
got so little feedback.
Mhm.
We can discuss here too as well. But
Mhm.
I know it's in there somewhere. But can we move? Can we change the default branch from master to I'll just say main because that's the typical. Um, um, that's the typical default choice alternative, but I mean there's other ones that could be nice as well. Could call it trunk. Was it trunk? Isn't it trunk what we used to call it on Subversion, or was it CVS? I don't remember now, but
That would
maybe.
be a bad naming. CVS is a pharmacy, right?
Okay.
At IBM, we're using things like main or release, are I think the main two that we're using.
Mhm.
So main R, what was the other? Main R,
Release is the other one that we've used.
R release. So release is like the main, like the main, would be the replacement for master. Okay.
Correct.
Okay. I don't have serious thoughts about this, but and I thought a little, if like if we rename, let's see, it might be kind of confusing, but so, EE10. What do we actually I have to look because I don't remember now. What do we call our version? Oops, our versioned branches now. Okay, so 9.1.x. So I guess so. I guess the equivalent of that would be our 10 dot o dot x. Um, yes, I'll just say that 10 dot x instead of master. And we, I think we get into confusing situations, but we later create a, say a 10.1.x or 11.0.x. Um, it could get confusing. That's the only concern about that. Like, at the end of a release and
Yeah, but don't we have documentation on this written? I think David wrote a bunch of the documentation for the platform. Don't we have something like this, or am I
On-
mistaken?
On,
Oh,
on, well,
mhm.
we had a discussion on branch and on, on like, calling releases, branches like 10.0 or 10.0, dot, 10.1.x or 10.0.x. We had some discussion on that. But the idea here would be just kind of eliminate the idea of a master branch or a main branch that later gets renamed, which causes all of our Jenkins jobs to break, or I should say, it causes all of our Jenkins jobs to need to be updated after the release in order to handle TCK challenges. So like after 10.0 is released, um, since we did all the CI jobs run against on the master branch, they're all out of date after the release is done, and we have to update them to do TCK challenges. So
Wow.
if we used like a versioned approach, it would, we wouldn't have to, we wouldn't have to switch from main to 11.0.x or whatever. With the branch would, the new branch for the release would be determined before we start coding
Mhm.
against it. But it might be kind of weird for developers. On our local machine, you're working against the main branch, and then suddenly um, 10 is released. Um, um, sorry, you wouldn't be developing against the main branch. You'd be developing against the, yeah, I guess that would work. Yeah, because you just wouldn't have a main branch to develop against, which could
Exactly.
be, it could be weird, and it could be weird in ways where, yeah, in some ways, um, when that branch changes. But I guess you just kind of like when the new branch is created for the next release, you'd carry that work over, I guess. Um, would there be any impact there? Let's just say there were changes you had on the 10.0.x branch that didn't get merged, and you didn't finish. You want to move them to to the 11 branch, instead of just keeping that on the main branch until you're done. It could be several years. Um, you got to kind of keep moving to new branches every time there's a new EE release. So
So Scott, let me go in here. What is stopping us from adopting the name, the change to the release number on 10? I mean, if we know that we are going to acquire code debt in the future, why don't we terminate that process and just try something new? This definitely should be considered heavily for 10, because it is going to a new features, something that we might do it wrong, might happen, as it always does, like 9.1, right? We discovered that we needed to do a bunch of adjustments that were minor, quote unquote. So why wouldn't we, what is stopping us for changing it now?
yeah, I'm not against it. Well, right now, I think we would do it after the release is done, just again because I don't want to, I don't want everyone to have to rename their branch and lose changes possibly, and other things that happen when when you change branch names in the middle of a release. I just don't want to disrupt everyone. We're probably just weeks away from finishing, but that's gonna change if we cause people to lose their work somehow accidentally. That that's just me being paranoid, I guess. But that's why I would wait until 10 is released. Is done, and then do it. Um, but I think people should think about this version, approach, and Yeah, we could consider doing that, when 10 is done. Either we switch to main or we switch to a version approach. And just because I suggested it doesn't mean I really want to do it. I like the idea. I just don't know if there's any problems that it creates. So I think we should think about
Yeah,
it.
in the microprofile side, we do it by version, by release, and it has helped us greatly because it helps with our users and also developers. There might
Oh,
be
I didn't know
someone,
that.
yeah, so it might be someone that wants to use this release because it has something specific that is valuable to them for their products. And then there's another user that wants this release, and then just go directly to the version and then, do all the work in there. I think we should just, my recommendation is, sure, it's not a being paranoid, it's just that you have a point. This needs to be socialized, and that means via writing. And if rushing it will not be a good thing, right?
Yep.
Just to do it just because we want to and send a pull request without any conversation, that's just not the way to go. But if you see, yeah, the two branches, right? But then within it, you can go master, and then, yeah, we continue to update all branches. Oh, come on. It's like, it's telling me, yeah.
So I see the 1.x. So there's 1.x and then there's master. So 1.x is okay, from 4 years ago, and
Mhm.
master has been updated, is everything that over the past 4 years. But I guess with what I was suggesting, there would be no master branch. There would be it would just be 1.x and 2.x, right? So whereas we see there is no 2.x branch. There's just they call it master. So that that would be equivalent to what we do now, which we'll switch to main. But I was saying, the equivalent in microprofile would be where they don't have a master or main branch. They have a 2.x branch, which is the current. So that looks a little different than what we're talking about here. I'm just going to put the
We,
link in.
yeah, if you can do that, we have had problems with it sometimes. Well, we had to revert because of it. So I know this is a constant conversation on the microprofile side on reversion. And imagine reverting from the master, it's just very complicated. So this is why I was thinking we use the release link for our blogs and things like that, and then we forget about everything else just because, right? Like that's how we communicate. And maybe it might not match what we're talking here in the level of, hey, let's clean it even more. But if we have the opportunity and we have, no one can stop the coders from cleaning the future debt and the maintenance, so be it. The
Yep.
attachment seems to me the best way to go on this matter. So Brian, way to go on bringing this up that we have forgotten.
Yeah, I think that one advantage of the second bullet, to rename 10.0.x is that gives to newcomers that gives right away the meaning of main or master, right? Because when you go to other projects and you open the GitHub project and you see main or master, then you go to the tags to see master, for what purpose master is being used, right? So I think that's something that I will say is not so common with the projects I normally work on a regular basis. But as someone who works with Apache repositories, I know master main is the latest one. But when someone just jump in and see this, okay, master means it could be development, it could be the stable release, and everything else is being worked on another branch. So I think this is a good point.
Nice. Yeah, good feedback. Thank you. And yep, thank you, Amelia, too, for the micro profile. Yeah. example too. That was, that's good. So it sounds like something like we could try it for, we could try it and then we can always,
Revert.
revert.
If necessary, we have reverted in Microprofile, and it was painful, but we did it. Because, that's what happens when mistakes are done. You have to own it, and there is no issue with it. It's just that socializing the testing or the pilots is important. Things shouldn't just show up, especially on code development. And we have a serious issues a lot of times with Jakarta, that sometimes things show up because maybe someone wants to do something amazing and it just follows. There is nothing landing in the forums. And then we continue to pile, and I think we're acquiring a lot of debt, but at least that is my philosophy, right? Because there is less reviews. So maybe 10 give us an opportunity to move away from that and just simplify the code that we have brought from Jakarta EE. And Scott, that we have not simplified the code at all. We just left some things out that took us a while to things. And I think this is a great opportunity, just changing the philosophy of how we even present the new releases or the new code and the main one, like Cesar says,
Okay, so we're almost at the end of the call, but I was just, you mentioned the word simplify, and I couldn't resist. So we have the refactoring branch, and I'm thinking for after EE10. And I mentioned this a few days ago on in response to a thread about creating the new servlet TCK. The suggestion is to move our refactoring to I'll say I'll just call it the main branch, whatever we end up calling the main branch, to be side by side with the Java test harness ant based testing. And just because, we didn't get to use anything that we did for EE10 in terms of refactoring, and for going forward, I was thinking that we should just do it this way. And we only have like 1 minute left, but if anyone has feedback on that idea of let's just switch and incrementally add in Maven support at the TCK test level. So where you currently see Ant being used to run tests, we would have a Maven project introduced that replaces it, and the tests are rewritten. But so we end up with these Maven projects in the middle of the source tree where we see Ant projects, and the Maven projects kind of replace the Ant projects. It may be that for 11, we don't finish changing all of the projects, so we have a mix still, which would be unfortunate, but that's kind of the reality of what we're at now. We have some refactored TCKs that are separate, but in the platform TCK, nothing is refactored. So that was one idea. So if anyone has feedback on that, that would be great. Just gonna disable. If anyone has feedback on that, that's great. Otherwise, we can just push it to the next call to discuss more.
We should put it in for the next call. There should be, because this is going to take a different conversation. And also, Scott, I recommend that you send a message to the TCK forum saying this is going to be discussed on next call. We can start the discussion through writing, right? Because you're like so amazing. Everyone here has been amazing on the activity on the written forum. This shouldn't wait for a month, but it should be added. The agenda should be already added onto, hey, this is the next goal, and then so it's not forgotten.
Yep, sounds great. And thank you everybody for showing up, even though I didn't send the reminder email today. I'm glad you all came, and yeah, we got to talk. I think we're done, and
Mhm.
next call is going to start for people.
Yeah, no, but I wanted to say to everyone here, it's so much fun. I have missed these fun calls, and next time I will show my video. I couldn't do it today, but everyone, thank you so much. And Scott, thank you so much, because even though you didn't send the minutes, because of the activity, I was able to join all in the mailing list. It reminded me, hey, yes, tomorrow, because you are not, the project is not silent. It's so much activities. Awesome. So.
Yep, thank you. Thank you
Mhm.
for sharing, and thank you everybody. And all right,
Thank you,
I'm going
Scott.
to stop
Thank you,
recording.
everybody.